Today on Expert Film Advice, we're talking about how to make a great movie villain featuring Darth Vader. Now before I get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ooh, it feels so good. Darth Vader is one of the greatest movie villains of all time, and because of that, a perfect blueprint has been laid down to show you how to make a great movie villain. Here are 3 traits you can take from Darth Vader to make a great movie villain. Number 1. Your villain has to think he's the good guy. Darth Vader never set out to be evil. No good villain does. And if they do, they kind of become a parody of a villain. A villain has to be working towards what they perceive as the right thing to do. Darth Vader was fighting because he truly thought the Jedi were evil and that he needed to fight them in order to protect the galaxy from their tyranny, amongst other things that we'll get into a little later. Making your villain believe that they're the good guy gives their actions a little bit more weight and makes it a little bit more believable. And a lot of times we may not agree with their methods for getting to a certain spot, but their end goal is sometimes admirable and even understandable. In your villain's eyes, they're the protagonist. In most instances, if your villain believes that they're the antagonist, it'll never work, because no one thinks like that. Number 2, your hero and your villain should be connected in some way. They should share traits and characteristics that are similar to each other. Have you ever met someone that's very similar to you? If you have, you'd likely notice that that person is the person that annoys you the most. Sometimes you don't even realize that the person that annoys you the most is the person that's most like yourself, until somebody points it out or makes a reference to it. That's because friction is drawn from similarities. Vader and Luke are very similar. Obviously, spoilers, they're related, but they were also extremely similar. Both were amazing pilots who had high-ranking military positions without joining the military in a traditional sense. Both had a strong connection with the Force, and both were very much tempted by the dark side. Obviously, Vader fell to the dark side, but that can also be seen as a connection between the two. Your hero succeeding where your villain has failed. If you want your protagonist and your antagonist to go head-to-head, make them similar, but not mirror opposites of each other. Don't make your villain a carbon copy of your hero who just does bad things. Your villain should be your hero if they were looking through a funhouse mirror. Similar, but very, very different. And finally, number 3, humanize them. Make their flaws and motivations relatable to the audience. Make them proud, jealous, vengeful, passionate, loving. The more we can see ourselves in the villain, the better they are. We all have that little bit of darkness in us, and if we were pushed just a little too far, we'd snap. Your villain is the person that was pushed too far. Give them human circumstances that they had a negative reaction to, which caused them to be the way that they are. Again, we're all one bad moment away from being evil. Show the audience that your villain was exactly like us until they couldn't take the pressure anymore. Darth Vader, or Anakin Skywalker, was taken away from his mother at a young age, only to find out that she was being tortured and murdered, and he, who actually had the power to save her, couldn't. Plus, if it wasn't already hard enough, the love of his life was killed by him after he turned away from his old life to protect her from death. Not to mention, he probably thought his unborn child was dead as well. All of these things contribute to Vader's descent to the dark side. Simplifying it, Vader loved extremely hard, which brought him extreme heartache, which made him turn to the dark side of the Force. Look, no one likes a character that's 100% good or 100% evil all the time. I'm looking at you, Superman. We're not 100% good or 100% evil all the time, so make your characters more human, and they'll be better for it. Well, for the most part anyway. Typically, the villains that stick around the longest are the villains that are most like ourselves. Make your villain just as relatable as your hero and you're good to go. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Let me know if this helped you guys. If you'd like me to break down how to make a villain or a hero in a different type of way, let me know by commenting below. Or you can mention me on social media. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Peace.